Abou Zaki is a founder, designer, inventor, educator, and he's got about six more others that I could put out there. But what he has is a special type of housing. Rawad, we're glad to have you here. And he's showing you what the future is today because he's already manufacturing these and starting to deliver these on site.
My name is Rawad Zaki. I'm the founder of Hover City, the company that's building the world's first flying house. A little bit about my background first. I'm originally Lebanese. I was born in Kuwait and we escaped the Gulf War very early. We had to spend 3 days in the car driving in the desert, fleeing the war. Grew up in the mountains in Lebanon, and then I started building tiny houses. I was 11. The next year we had to move somewhere else, so I put it on bicycle wheels. My mom was like, no way, you're taking it with you on the street, which was a very good decision back then. But then that's the whole passion for mobile architecture started, and went into architecture school. I got extremely bored by traditional construction. So I moved to Italy, where I finished my studies in transportation design and built my career designing cars, yachts, and airplanes for companies around Europe, in the Middle East, in South Asia. And only when I was leading a car sharing project in Shanghai for Geely Volvo, I learned about big data, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to change the world. Like if we're going digital, every human behavior is going to change. But then I started having the vision for decentralized cities. How can you be net zero, as Dr. Samuel said, while building the same way, settling and centralized cities? Nothing new. We have to kind of project what's the future of digitalization is going to create decentralization, and decentralization will eliminate the necessity for being in a settled environment. You don't need to be settled. We go back to our roots, being Phoenicians, being moving from one place to another. That's a human cycle that happens every 1,000 of years. Now it was a very hard sell initially. Like, how can you pitch a moving city and a flying city and stuff like that? It was a big struggle. So I started, my first business was called Creavan. I started a university in RVs. So I would put students on RVs, travel around Europe to study through adventure. But then COVID hit, and we had to shut down everything. And but when COVID hit, digitalization ramped up, and now the New York turned like a prison. So how can you do the future of construction? But then after this as well, going back to tragedies, Beirut, my home city, got a huge explosion that in a second it wiped out the entire city. 300,000 people lost their homes in 1 second. My sister used to live right in front of the port. Thank God she wasn't there. But I used to have my coffee watching the port. It's crazy. And as soon as this happened, we were like in the tragedy for a week, and then it blew our minds. We go like, oh my God, we're building flying houses, decentralized cities. That's exactly what people need. What they need is reliable houses that are delivered quickly, not in tents or in any affordable solution. Like, we can build houses like building affordably. So then I started looking at what's happening in the US alone, the numbers of disasters. People underestimate how many people get dislocated. The UN estimates 14 million every year will be displaced in the next decade. That's not in third world countries only. Europe is one of the biggest concerns around Europe, what's going to happen with migration there. And then from my knowledge in the transportation industry, you can afford today a fully electric Mitsubishi, fully electric, with all technology integrations, everything, incredible R value, high quality, precision, 0.05 millimeters of precision for $14,000. And then it stays on the assembly line for 3 minutes. The automotive manufacturing stays 3 minutes on assembly line. Then you go to any contracting company right now for building, they will charge you $100,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment. It will take 6 months to finish. And every company that does they call it off-site manufacturing, like prefab, and then deliver it there. Yes, they build it in 3 days on site. But to build that sandwich panel in the manufacturing facility, it needs you 6 months. So you didn't really solve the problem. You're just kind of finding incremental improvements for an existing problem. Then you see what FEMA is doing. FEMA is helping a lot of people in the displaced. They will go for these mobile homes. That list there on the side is just the tip of the iceberg of the issues these houses have. It's incredibly hard to move around. It costs overhead 3 times the cost of the unit. So if the unit is $52,000, what they pay for it, it doesn't have anything that works. And then the overhead and every cost associated afterwards for it is 3 times at least. So every unit costs the government $150,000 if it's a $50,000. And then it's extremely slow to manufacture, extremely slow to deliver, as you can see, 1 unit at a time. So that's where Hover House, we call it the Hover House, comes in as the world's first flying, modular, and self-sustaining living unit. We build houses just like aircrafts are built. We are expecting in the next 12 months, we will be able to build the entire house from raw material to final product in less than 24 hours. It's fully metal base while it has zero welding. It's clean manufacturing. It's extremely strong. We'll talk about this a little bit about structural integrity, but it's fully off-grid. So we run on up to 15 hours of continuous electricity from solar and battery packs. We can have up to 10 kilowatt battery pack in the unit itself. We harvest rainwater from the roof, collect it in integrated water tanks. Then when you use it, goes back to your gray tank. We refilter the same water and use it again. The units that we're building right now and we're delivering can house 80 gallons of water at a time, not in a circular. So we can go up to 150 gallons per unit. And then we have drinking water on the units. So the units arrive with even drinking water with a 11-stage RO system that includes also UV filtration. This is, for example, what Hurricane Harvey looked like. The numbers are staggering, and you can see that dump of RVs everywhere. Nobody knows what happens to these RVs. There's no data collection on anything that happens, while our units are fully smart. So we have integrated Google system, runs monitors heat, sensors of leaks, whatever happens, occupancy rates, anything you need to know about the unit. Where is it GPS wise? You will know exactly where is it, how many head count is inside the unit, what are they using, how much are they using of the energy, and everything is determined. This was proudly the first prototype that we released around a year ago, less than a year ago. And since then, that unit was around the same price as a regular housing unit for FEMA, while we have about 120% improvement on whatever is there in the same units. Why can this be possible? Why are we able to do it? The number one thing is agile manufacturing. So we reduced our raw material to 2 only. Regular modular construction or prefab or any housing would buy I-beams from California, would buy extrusions from New York, will buy some material from I don't know where, and there's different lead time, long supply chain, money is spent on every stage of these things. We build the entire house out of 1 sheet metal. It's 1 sheet metal, same type. We do it like origami style, and we build everything, interior, exterior, chassis, clad. Why is this significant? Because we can buy raw material in bulk, but also we can manufacture locally. So the whole Hover House is built out of Texas, all of it. There's no unit, anything coming from outside. And we can do the same thing in Virginia here. We can support local businesses. We can buy material from here and build the entire thing. So it's composed of aluminum and then wood, plywood. The reason is we can even eliminate that plywood, but it's for having a homey feel and whatever. And then we do it using 2 machines only. So 2 machines. Our factory, if we were to build a factory here in Virginia, to start the factory and start producing around 100 units a month, we need $3 million. That covers 15 employees to start with, and then the machines that we need. And we can start producing 100 units a month. That's how efficient it is. Also, while doing that, we are extremely lightweight. Because of the material use and how we design it, how we combine it together, our unit, including everything, the water tanks, the battery packs, the solar panels, everything, we are under 4,000 pounds. Any prefab housing on the market right now is minimum 12,000 pounds. And they don't have all the integrations in there because our core is different. We are changing the whole system from inside out. We're not trying to put tech into something old. We are changing the whole process. So our value, for instance, our walls are 5 inches wide. If you want to compare our value for housing, you all fly, right? If you go to Texas, you'll go up to 35,000 miles above the ground. It's minus 50 Fahrenheit. You drop within 20 minutes to 100 degrees in Texas. You don't even feel the difference. It's not only because of what type of insulation they are putting in the wall, it's everything. It's like how the aircraft is built. It's how you flow air in there. How do you absorb energy? How you reflect light? How do you do all these kind of things to the extreme that even paint becomes part of the equation, not just a nice thing on the aircraft. So everything is calculated. And then we're modular. So if you want to scale your space up, so the unit is self-sustained, we'll show a little bit what's the inside, but also you can scale it. It's a plug and play. We're doing right now R&D on the modular system, plug and play, instant automatic bolting. So the unit comes next to another one, recognizes it, locks in, you open the door, you move to the other unit. As simple as that. You stack up, same way. Also self-adjusting, the unit lands on the ground. All you need is a flat surface. You don't have a flat surface, no problem. Our feet extend up to 3 feet high. So if you have one side is dip and the other one is not level, it will level itself on its own. So this is the transition of the first prototype that I built out of nothing and got destroyed on the way, to the second one, to the third one, to now production. You can see through the process how the improvement happened, but also on the right side, I was really blessed to meet really important people that believed in the vision that we are doing. So that's the president of Estonia. We were discussing the Ukrainian war and how we can help there. We got invited actually by the Ukrainian officials to go in Spain. I was going. The visa was denied for some reason. So we still want to go. The second is an LOI with the Red Cross. Then we have plenty of interest in too many different areas. We'll talk about them in a second. And then until the final unit, which is this one, it still needs polish. Okay, don't judge, but there's one more week of work to deliver it to our first client. Fully off grid, fully metal base, 140 square feet. It has a full kitchen with drinking water, microwave, a mini fridge. It has a full bathroom with a composting toilet, so we don't need any plumbing, but also a washing machine and a dryer inside 140 square feet. And then the living area is modular. So you can't see it on that pictures, but the wall, if you see 2 bunk beds, these Murphy can convert between a twin double beds on top of each other to a king size in 140, to a sofa or a pop-up office if you need to. So it's a modular 5-in-1, we call it. Or you can just close it all and you have 70% of your space unoccupied. Why is that important? Because I lived 2 years in an RV when I was doing the first company, Creavan, and I just wanted to do a push-up in in the cold, not on ice. So there is no space. So that the two things we did here is, number one, preserve as much space as we can. The second thing is as much glass as possible. So you have a 180-degree uninterrupted panoramic view, just not to feel claustrophobic. And then thank you. And then we have a 7.5 feet high of head clearance for incredible height on a ADU. And then we have also pop-up desks coming from the walls. All the floor is accessible. You can open it, have storage in the floor, storage in the ceiling, ducted air conditioning, so you don't have a mini split showing. It's all like aircraft. It comes distributed very equally all across the unit. So you can see here like how easy the forklift just lifted it up. No extensions on the forklift as well. So it's lifted literally from the center of it, while it's 20 feet long. You can see it from there. It's 20 feet long, and the forklift is right in the middle, 4 feet in between them. So you have extended from both sides a lot of cantilever, and it didn't even flex. It didn't bend, while no welding, zero welding. It's also, you can see there the bolts on the roof, where we can lift it with a helicopter, and we're working with the National Guard right now. Hopefully they approve. We have a flight demo end of this month. You are all invited. We'll send you an official invite. It's going to be at one of the airports. We're just kind of finishing the last details, but we will send an official invite. So it can be lifted with a helicopter now, easy. It's 4,000 pounds. Any regular helicopter with the military, with NGOs, with the government can lift it. And then also we started R&D on its own wheelbase, so we can be air, water, wherever, road, anything can be done, to the point that, by the way, this unit is 8 feet high, watertight. There is not one drop of water when you shut the doors. You can dip it in a flood, nothing goes in, because it's completely confined unless 8 feet. So you have 1.5 feet above, just where the air conditioning and the vents come in. Just don't pour water there. But the rest is completely sealed. And yeah, so you have accessibility doors as well. They open twice, so you can roll chair, moving chair, what do you call it? Yeah, inside, wheelchair. Yeah, sorry. And then the wheelbase for it's all street rated as well, so it's follows every street code, but also follows every aviation code. And every housing code. So that was the challenge, but we tried our best. You can see the solar panels on the outside from there on the wall. We can put also solar panels on the roof. So on our team, Hani Blakeman, our attorney, Jorge Manresa, who's a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, helping us in government, Holly Kassersen, former VP of events at the Houston Sports Authorities, because we want to do a hover city during FIFA 2026. Erect a whole city, and then disassemble it after FIFA, move it to the Olympics 2028 in LA. So if anybody's involved, we want to help us out. We would really love that. Also, Andrew Davis, he's the MD of Techstars Boston, and John Champagne is the veteran of Hover City as well. He's the oldest sitting person with us since we started. Also, our investors, we have to give shout out to specific investors here, but the mayor of Austin, the former mayor, Steve Adler, he's been a key personal friend of mine and helper in this whole thing. Shanaz Hamati, one of the very first investors. She's a unicorn, founder of Zen Business, founder of VRBO, if you know, Homestay. Also, Dan Krasnowski, real estate investor. The first check that came to Hover City, I was still back in Italy, was from Dan Krasnowski. He got me a $10,000 check. I had nothing but a drawing. This man invested in us after 2 meetings. That's it. I met him first time. Next day, it was Christmas. He left his family, cut me the check, and that was the reason why Hover City is here. Erin Defose, incredible entrepreneur out of Texas. Chris Tyler and Jessica Stenhoff. The main values: preserving dignity is very important. We say quick as a tent, strong as a building. No more tents. We can deliver these houses. We can build quick, and we can guarantee any state. Right now, we're doing this in Texas, and we're talking to the governor's office. We can guarantee with a specific type of agreement and partnerships with the state, we can agree up to 1,000 units in the first 24 hours of any disaster. We can do it if we need a specific type of partnership with the government for a long term, 10 years, and we can deliver on that. And then finally, see what's left. Future markets, flying houses is inevitable. It's going to happen. I don't see a future where flying houses don't replace anything, because if you can fly anywhere you want, who needs roads? Who needs to drive? Who needs to go who needs any of what we use right now? We can do events and festivals, extreme Airbnb opportunities. Military is huge for us, and space would be on our plan. So that's about it for me. If you have any more questions, this is what we're working on R&D, so you can see how the units will fly and stack on top of each other. Thank you.
Rawad, we have a tradition in this club of presenting our speakers, planting a tree on behalf of our speakers. So there is a tree that will be planted in your name, and here's a certificate for it.